6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome.
Hey guys, welcome to the Blonde Blitz. I am not Nikki or Deb. Nikki's out on work, so I'm filling in with Deb. Deb,
I'm here though.
what's going on?
Hi everybody.
So yeah, we had a lot of fun football talk to come up tonight.
I don't know. We've got some interference here.
Interference? Oh yeah, well we got some Josh Kirby going on. Josh, what's up, man?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm hopefully I will be as good as Nikki. Haven't seen Nikki. Wishing her all the best. I do have a little bit of blonde though, if that counts.
I was gonna say, guys, I need some blonde wigs.
Yeah. Mine's still lost in the mail. Anyway, Josh, thanks for coming on. Deb, welcome aboard since this is your show. We have a lot of fun to talk about. We can do quick recaps. We'll start with Deb because she's going to be looking for new coordinators, both defensively and offensively.
Yep.
Might as well start with that.
It was like Christmas. It just kind of started to trickle,
Right.
So first that, DC was gone. And then today was the announcement. I woke up to the news that, Brian Johnson is no longer with the Eagles, which is fantastic.
Right.
And Josh, we might be going for Ron Rivera for our DC. I'm very excited about that. Everyone knows how much of a Riverboat Ron fan I am. What are your thoughts on that since you covered the Commanders?
Well, I mean, just looking at the way stuff ended in Washington, obviously, it was coming from a mile away that Ron Rivera was going to be let go. The way that they let Ron go, the Commanders, with the new ownership was class act. They put up a graphic. He probably spoke to the team before he departed as well. So, I mean, the ownership, Josh Harris, a big Philly guy too, Deb. I'm sure you probably know some stuff about him. But, I mean, just looking at what the Harris group has been doing so far, giving Ron the whole season, I think it was just class and respectful for them to go out this way. Now they're hitting the ground running in the offseason, already hiring Adam Peters and looking to see who the next head coach candidate might be. But if I may, about Philadelphia, to be honest,
Josh.
that whole coordinator situation was very interesting to me. Mm-hmm. Why are you demoting a guy, I forget his name off the top of my head, for Matt Patricia?
Mm-hmm.
Like what qualifies Patricia?
I agree. And honestly, when Matt Patricia took over, the defense did even worse.
Yeah.
So
what else is new?
Well, the Eagles did win the Super Bowl when Matt Patricia was in New England.
Right.
Let's just if everybody forgot about that.
I forgot about that. Good point.
So it was confusing, but if Ron Rivera gets hired, he'll probably find a way to make that defense number one, and it will bite the Commanders in the rear end. I don't know, but it's very interesting. A lot of work that needs to be done for Philly. I mean, that loss, I don't think you fire Sirianni over that. He's had a lot of success. Mm-hmm. I just think the collapse called for, just a rebuild of some sorts. And I think this is the direction the Eagles want to go in.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. And I think it's the right direction. I didn't see Nick Sirianni losing his job either. I actually thought he didn't do a horrible job. I don't know where the problem is, though. I think, firing the DC, firing the OC, and hiring, new people are obviously there's a step in the right direction. And then we'll figure out what issues the players had as well. There was definitely something on that field that wasn't right as well. And I think the offseason, the Eagles will get to the bottom of it. Also, too, Dan, as a Giants fan, Wink might be coming as a DC too. So what do you think of that?
I mean, you and me and Nikki have been talking about it since the moment Wink's been let go from the Giants. I mean, that will be a match made in heaven. Obviously, whatever reason, towards the end of the second half of the season, the Eagles' pass rush, for whatever reason, fell off a cliff after the previous season's sack record was in reach. So, with Wink there, it's going to be tough sledding for anybody that would play the Eagles next year if everybody is healthy. So, yeah, that makes me nervous, especially knowing the weapons the Eagles have. That would be something. I'm more interested in seeing what the offense can bring. Like, who would they bring in? Because we know the Eagles offense, when healthy, is a top 5, top 3 offense.
Right.
And everything's clicking. So, I didn't get to read any names. Do you know any names that they mentioned off the top of your head?
You know what? I haven't had a chance to look it up. Like I said, I just woke up to the news saying Brian
Right,
Johnson.
right.
I don't think they've announced anything.
No, they haven't. They haven't.
Okay. Yeah, no, I haven't heard. I haven't gotten an inside scoop yet. But
okay.
Maybe for next week I'll know more.
And we might as well touch on it as well. The former, since you do cover the Chargers as well, their former GM is now the current GM of the Raiders. Yeah. And you texted me, I don't know how I feel about this, and I'm with you. Like, I just don't think he did that great of a job with the Chargers. Like, yeah, he's had some moments, but for whatever reason, the Chargers are gonna Charger, and it's just like, all right, now the Raiders are gonna Raider because this is a typical Raider move. I love the AP move for the Raiders.
Love it. Yeah. So I mean, I guess there's a balance there. I'm not in love with the new GM. Like he didn't do it for the Chargers. I want the Raiders to do well. I like the Raiders. And I love that Antonio Pierce got that head coaching job. I literally was jumping up and down, which I don't do a lot. When I heard that news. So yeah, it's just a weird combination, but
yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the Raiders on another day. So might as well get into the awards so we can do our recap of the whole divisional round, which we had very fun game, very good games this week. The only really meh game was the first game, and the Texans actually put up a fight. So
really did.
They played a tough first half, and then the Ravens were like, no, not today. So we're going to start off with the Ken of the Week. Honoring, we're going to go with Josh, then Deb, and then myself to wrap it up. So who is your quote-unquote Ken of the Week, Josh? Who is your MVP of the week?
Motor City Dan Campbell. 3 years ago to the day, he was introduced to the day of their playoff win against Tampa Bay. He was introduced as Detroit's head coach. We all know that fiery press conference. You knock us down, we're going to come right back up and bite a kneecap off. What Coach Campbell has done and what this Lions team has done to rally around Coach and have such a successful season. I'm going to pose this question to both of you. If I told you at the beginning of this season the Lions would be in the NFC Championship game, would you believe me?
Nope.
No, I think they were going to have contend for the playoffs, but to be in this spot, I wouldn't have believed you.
The city of Detroit is over the moon. This is a great step in the right direction. Even if the Lions lose this week, it's a great step. I'm giving my Ken of the Week to Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions.
And to be honest, I was going to say they might have a chance winning this game.
It would be.
Did not look so fabulous last week.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Like they could do it. It is possible. So
and hand up to me. I said it last night on my Giant pod. At first, I didn't really love Dan Campbell because I was more of a Joe Judge stan, and I'm like, oh, this guy's just trying to be Joe Judge. Obviously, I look stupid now, but after the way Dan Campbell has conducted himself over the last year, them just missing the playoffs last year after starting 1-5, 1-6, it was like, okay, I'm clearly an idiot. What else is new? And then I'm like, all right, I like Dan Campbell. I warmed up. I'm like, he's just putting on for the camera because they were on Hard Knocks, and it was like, all right, Dan, cool. But I was clearly wrong about that. I'm a Dan Campbell stan now, so I was wrong. So I converted. But yeah, no, Dan Campbell, the way he's gotten that Lions franchise turned around is A++ stuff. All right, Deb, who's your Ken of the week?
I have got Isaiah Pacheco. He's from South Jersey, first of all, right around me. He went to Rutgers. I actually interviewed him for an article I did for Super Bowl last year, so I thought he had a great game. He scored that clutch fourth quarter touchdown to give KC that late lead over Buffalo. They ended up winning the game. Obviously I had Buffalo. Dan, I think you had Buffalo too. But yeah, I mean, he got that ball in the first and goal, powered past that goal line, and then the kick was good, and that was game. So, yeah. And also, I just have to say, I have to be a girl. I loved Taylor Swift flashing that 10 after he scored. That's obviously his number. So, she apparently was one of her Kens as well. Probably not her top Ken, but maybe
definitely not her top Ken, because her top Ken scored a touchdown,
yes.
and Jason Kelsey had a week of his own.
Yes.
So yeah, no, Pacheco, man, he's been running hard. It's really cool to see him. Like last year was like, all right, Isaiah Pacheco, it's a nice story. Rutgers, 7th round pick. Yeah. He's not doing enough, but he's just doing enough to be the starter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like this year, he's really broken out, especially towards the second half of the season. He's really running hard. He reminds me of Ahmad Bradshaw, like the way his hard running style was from the Giants last two Super Bowl teams. So if you watch a highlight of Ahmad Bradshaw and you put it next to Pacheco, it's pretty similar. So yeah, he reminds me of that as well. I guess I gotta go with the layup with my Ken of the week. It's Lamar. It's just Lamar, because for whatever reason, Lamar doesn't get the credit that he deserves the last couple years. I know he hasn't been that guy in the playoffs yet, and last Saturday was that stepping stone for him to get that. He's about to get his second MVP.
Yeah. Let's
see what happens this week against Kansas City, but we all know that it's just like it's Lamar's time to shine. He needs to find a way to get there so he could be put on that pedestal with Patrick Mahomes, with a Josh Allen, which he's already there, but for whatever reason, he's always the forgotten guy in that group. But he's about to win his second MVP. He showed up. He ran for over 100 yards. Who does that? I mean, and then he threw for over a couple 100 and over around 150. So, hey, he was unstoppable. Isaiah Likely has been a huge contributor ever since Andrews got hurt. And that's without a wide receiver or a running back that has rushed or received for over 1,000 yards. Put that in perspective. That's insane. Mm-hmm. So my Ken of the week, and I guess my Ken for the whole season, is Lamar. So that would be our situation. So before I play, it's actually funny since I'm here. I'm going to do the Bend and Snap of the week.
And snap.
So,
see?
L Woods, Bend and Snap. I don't get Nikki's laugh because she forgets I play it every week. Deb, take it away. Who's your Bend and Snap player of the week?
I have got Steven Sims, wide receiver for the Texans. He had that 67-yard punt return to tie the game in the second quarter against the Ravens.
Former commander.
Yes, actually. Thank you, Josh. I mean, I think I texted you guys, wow, like when it was happening. I just didn't expect the Texans to hold it as much as they did. Obviously, you know, the second half, the Ravens stepped up their game and obviously took a much bigger lead. But yeah, they were still in the game there when that happened, when that punt return happened. So I was, I think he gets my Bend and Snap play of the week.
Absolutely. What about you, Josh? What's your play of the week?
It's pretty funny. Before I get to my play of the week, just looking at all these teams in the playoffs and all the names you see that used to play for Washington. Me and my dad are on the couch watching, and we're like, and he's like, well, I guess he wasn't good enough to play for Washington, and now they're on playoff teams. But my Bend and Snap play of the week, that athletic throw, Lamar Jackson throwing to Isaiah Likely towards the end of that game, the Ravens and the Texans, just what an athletic play Likely made to get back to that football, catching it for a touchdown with the receiver pretty close in his space. It was good coverage and Likely made an amazing play off of it.
Okay. All right. Awesome. We haven't really talked about them, so I figured I'd make that my play of the week is Christian McCaffrey's 39-yard touchdown run.
Yeah.
That was in that flurry of scoring, and we're like, oh, we got a game. And our
That's
group
right.
chat,
And you know what? To be honest, I mean, I'm so used to CMC just scoring that like I almost don't. I mean, I pay attention to it, and I was very excited for him, but I almost don't like because he's been my Ken so many times that
Right.
I'm like, it's CMC. This is what he does. But no, you're right.
And it's just parting of the sea, and he just found a way to break loose, and then he scored. And that was like, okay, we got ourselves a game, because it's like, all right, the Niners are just feeling themselves and just like taking counter punches from the Packers, which we all obviously did not expect. So with that would be my play of the week. Our Brassy Blonde. Let's see if we all have the same Brassy Blonde this week. Josh, who is your least valuable player for this week?
Least valuable player. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
I could do least valuable play.
I'll give it to you since you're not a normal guest on the show.
So the Bills checking to a fake punt, even though Kansas City had 10.
Well, you nailed it because that was going to be mine. So.
I still think you got to punt it there. You got to play it safe. You got to play it safe. And with 10, the Chiefs still stopped them. So I just didn't agree with that.
Yeah, I with your point, I would have rather Josh Allen go 4th and 5 and make a play and just have Josh Allen do Josh Allen things.
I think they would have had more better success doing that than checking into a fake punt.
Yeah. Right. I'm with you on that, Josh. I would have had Josh Allen do Josh Allen things and just be athletic and just be a freak that
win the game. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Just like that was the biggest head scratcher, one of the biggest head scratchers of the week. Deb, who's your Brassy Blonde of the week?
So literally in my notes, I'm going to read them word for word. I have some chose Bass, the missed field goal, but I feel bad for him, so I'm not going to choose him. I also have someone would have chose McDermott for approving that fake punt. But no, and I'm a little outside the box here. I'm going for Lamar Jackson running in a second touchdown, running through the tunnel looking like he's leaving. Like, who does that? Like, then they grab an unsuspecting photog's camera, they pose for a picture.
That was funny.
It was just a little tacky, guys. Like, it was Brassy. It had Brassy written all over it. Like, I'm a huge lover of the touchdown celebrations, the dances, but this was just a little too much. Like running through the tunnel, like I'm out of here, bye. Like did my thing. I don't know.
Okay, that's a good one.
Do a dance. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. My Brassy Blonde are kickers. The McLaughlin from the Packers. He is a rookie, so you kind of give him slack. But when you hear Joe
Carlson,
my bad. Yeah, kickers aren't my thing. Carlson, yeah. So Carlson, he on the broadcast, on the ESPN broadcast on Saturday night, they were like, well, we talked to LaFleur, and he was just like, yeah, every time he makes attempts a kick, I don't look at the kick and everything else. We just got to deal with him and being a rookie. I'm sorry.
That was actually misquoted.
Oh, okay. All right.
LaFleur went back later and corrected that because how it sounded on air
the way
sounded completely different. That was misquoted.
Okay, good.
100%.
Okay, all right, good. I missed that. All right, I
heard it on the broadcast too, and they said something like, "I just hope and pray."
Yeah,
and
that's what he says. I don't look at it.
Really, and then I heard later it was misquoted.
Okay,
and
good.
That
if that was really the situation, what is he still doing as their kicker? And then, unfortunately, with Bass in the Bills game, for whatever reason, he just didn't look like he directed the kick at all with the wind, and it just an unfortunate situation. It seems like obviously he got off of social media for the abuse. I'm sure he unfortunately doesn't deserve. But apparently,
$25,000 to his
Yeah,
charity.
kickers
right.
get a
I was
bad
about
rep,
to mention
and
that.
it's not their
So,
fault.
yeah, it's unfortunate, and it's just
Yeah,
like
that's true.
it's just like, and unfortunately with the Bills, it's like that. It's that team. It's just like for whatever reason they're cursed. So,
but just looking for the Packers in the third round, can you not find anybody else but a kicker?
yeah, that's also a head scratcher as well. So, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned. I'm glad you brought up that was a misinterpreted, which I'm sure it was. But when you're hearing that on Saturday night, and you're like, really, you're in the second round of the playoffs, and you're just having to deal with a rookie kicker is just like, I get it, but like, I don't know. Something's got to give. Watch next year; he'll be perfect because it's like kickers are funny like that. So hopefully for him in the offseason, he figures it out and becomes an All-Pro. Why not? So, so those are our awards this week. I forgot to mention. Be sure to like and subscribe to our new YouTube channel, our Spotify. Nikki has made a playlist on top of finding us on Spotify for our weekly podcast, both Blonde Blitz and Thunder and Lightning, me and Nikki's giant show. I will put them up every night we do a show, and you can find them the night of or the next day for sure for your commute into work or school, wherever you guys prefer to listen to the Blonde Blitz. And of course, we are on TSS Fantasy Football. Thank you for them for letting us to be on the platform as well. So before we get into the games, do you guys have any other? We pretty much talked about all the 4 playoff games. Do you have anything else to talk about divisional weekend, or we can go straight to the games?
I don't know. I just thought that with the with the Ravens Houston game, like I was really proud of the way Houston played and kept up for that first half. Like they just kept on putting the pressure, blitzing. I'm so I mean, everyone knows this, and Josh knows this too. Like I'm a huge CJ Stroud fan, and I'm beyond excited for them next season. Because they killed it with this season. New head coach, new rookie quarterback. I feel like the sky is no limit next year for the Texans.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say the same thing with the Packers, because the Packers played 58 minutes of solid football in the pouring rain versus the Niners. And unfortunately, like I mentioned, Brassy Blonde, the unfortunate missed kick, and then unfortunately Love throwing a interception to the middle of field where no one was around, of him just trying to make a play. And it was just like, damn, man, that really sucks. Like, they literally gave everything they got, and it just wasn't enough. So,
but I mean, it was San Francisco too. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, damn. Like, and I was talking to one of my best friends is a Packer fan, and it's just talking to him during the game. It's just like, damn, we have them where we want them, but we're kicking too many field goals. Where it's just not a recipe to beat the Niners, unfortunately. So we only have 2 games left. So it's really we're gonna break these down to a fine powder. Is a lot of people say this is their favorite weekend of the year because the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl and it really isn't catered to diehard football fans, which I kind of disagree with because it's literally everything all in one day. It is a bittersweet day, I guess would be the best way of saying what Super Bowl Sunday is for me. But NFC, the championship weekend is a pretty good day because you're like, all right, we got 2 games. We should hope to get 2 very good, awesome games.
Yes.
More times than not, we do. So I'm going to start off with 3:00, the AFC Championship game on CBS/Paramount. If you have Paramount, is the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been entering their 6th straight and AFC Championship game versus the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are 3.5 favorites. Josh, what do you think? And then we will break it down with what our picks are. What's your feel about this game? And we'll hop in. What do you think?
Well, the Chiefs battled some adversity throughout the playoffs with Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff game beating the Bills, obviously, and they're
Right.
going to what will probably be an electrifying atmosphere in Baltimore. I've had the pleasure of going to not one, but two close Ravens games, and that atmosphere is absolutely incredible.
It sounded it the last game too. I actually texted a friend who I thought was there, and I was like, "The stadium sounds like it's going off, like it's on fire."
Oh yeah,
Excuse
oh
me.
yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that.
It's a great atmosphere for sure. The Ravens fans show out loud and proud. This is going to be a really close game in my mind. But you know, the Chiefs, with everything they've been through this season, they've had some hiccups along the way. They have to play a near perfect game, I must say. I think this game might come down to who makes the most mistakes, because I think this is going to be a high-powered offense from Kansas City, plus the Ravens' stout defense. So this is going to be really a true test of both teams. But in the end, I have the Ravens going. I have the Ravens taking the win.
Okay, cool. What about you, Deb?
So I wanted this so bad to be the Bills and the Ravens.
You and me both had the Bills to make it to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. But obviously neither of us could pray it to be. So the Ravens have the home field advantage on this one. I feel like that what Kirby just said, that will be, not a deciding factor, but a factor in this game. Interestingly enough, ESPN Analytics gives Baltimore a 63.6 chance to take the championship. They have the Chiefs at 36.4 to win their second straight AFC title. I think the Ravens are going to win it. The Ravens are a stronger team, super balanced. They lead the league in pretty much everything. 6th in total offense, 4th in scoring, 1st in rushing, and lead the league in points allowed, sacks, and takeaways. But like Patrick Mahomes, he continues to find ways to get it done in this postseason, which is shocking to me. It's not shocking. It's Patrick Mahomes, so never count him out. And he has proven that, just never count out him or Andy Reid. And can I just say, where was this offense all season that we saw in the last game? I literally posted on my Facebook.
Right. I was that was gonna be my spiel as well. Like, they finally woke up. It was like they were playing possum all season long. They were like, we will get to the playoffs, but unfortunately, we just have to tinker with some things. And then Kelsey finally looks healthy. Pacheco's running the ball well. You do have Rice played well the last month of the season, so they finally got that repertoire. So
they wouldn't have been the wild card if they would have played all season. And it's funny. Do you remember how I said that someone had told me that the Eagles were just tricking us?
Yeah.
And they were really going to come out in the postseason and, beat everybody. Well, I feel like KC has been tricking us. So, but I still think, honestly, I think the Ravens are stronger. I'm going Ravens 31, KC 27. I want both of my psychics to be right on this one. So. And I want a purple Super Bowl.
This is your only chance. Yeah. Because that's one of the colors and conspiracy theories on TikTok and Instagram. See, this is the fun thing. I've picked against Patrick Mahomes covering wise twice this week. This playoffs. Okay. So I'm like, do I dare do it again? And I think the Chiefs cover, but I think the Ravens are going to win because their defense is so stout and. Like we mentioned, their offense, the Chiefs' offense has been obviously woken up. But at the end of the day, I think the Ravens' defense, plus being at home field advantage with that, they'll be able to find a way to just make Patrick Mahomes' life just a little unbearable for him. And let's face it, we don't trust, other than Rashid Rice and Kelsey, we don't trust any other receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs. So, like we saw last week, Hartman had the ball twice and he fumbled both times. So, like, I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
Scantling did okay too. Scantling did all right.
Yeah, he had that one nice catch, really, that I could remember off the top of my head. But let's face it, unless Pacheco and Mahomes doesn't do Mahomey things, it's gonna be a long day for them.
Yep.
So congratulations to Baltimore, aka we all picked Baltimore, so Kansas City is gonna win. So congratulations. Here we go again, Chiefs Kingdom. All right, next game. Like I'm more excited for this game because you don't really know how this could come out. So you got the NFC Championship. We got the upstart Lions versus the perennial hot team, the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners are 7-point favorites. That game is at 6:30 on Fox. So you will have Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olsen, Aaron Andrews, and that's all of them. So, all right, Deb, take it away. NFC Championship. What we got?
We all know how much I love the 49ers. I've said it since day one. We got Purdy, McCaffrey, Bosa, Young, Ayuk, Kittle. I mean, I could just keep going. But I said it earlier in the show. They just didn't look like the team to beat last week. I was a little concerned. I was actually with all of my San Francisco friends who are fans, and I was kind of talking through the plays with them because they're not huge football fans, and they were a little worried, and so was I that San Fran was not going to win that game. Lions could take this. Great defense, Goff is playing great, and I have to go 49ers just because I think they're going to show up, but Lions could really take this. I didn't do a score, but so.
Okay. Josh, what about you? And then I'll interject what both of you guys said.
The 49ers did not show up last week. That was so clear and obvious based on what the Packers were doing. And the Packers, unfortunately, a couple things that stopped them from getting the victory last week. I mean, hypothetically, if the Packers were to win the Lions hosting an NFC Championship game, that would have been even more insane than last playoff game the Lions hosted. But reeling back into reality here, you have the 49ers and you have a questionable Deebo Samuel. Brock Purdy has used Deebo Samuel as one of his main weapons throughout the course of the season. And that's going to be a key factor. But the 49ers really have to show up. If they played like they did last week, and the Lions have a picture-perfect game, the Lions will win. Yep. The Lions will win. The only way the 49ers win is if they come out and they're the explosive team that we have seen in weeks past. You got to get Christian McCaffrey involved more. If Deebo is healthy, use him when he's available. And the defense has to step up a little bit more because Deb, you mentioned Chase Young, the new addition from Washington. I tracked him ever since he left Washington. He really hasn't had really eye-popping stats in my mind. So it's going to be
it's interesting to say that too, because I know Commanders pretty well too. Obviously we've had this conversation before. He really didn't do all that great at the Commanders either. I mean, after he had that injury, he kind of never really came back.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what it is 100%. Yeah.
And that time he didn't show up for OTAs, like that's kind of why they traded him. I feel like that's kind of was like the down of Chase Young in Washington, at least. But yeah.
The keys to victory for the Lions, they have to play a picture-perfect game, and they cannot make any mistakes. Because if they do, San Francisco will capitalize and get the victory, but I'm picking the Detroit Lions.
Okay. I both get what you're saying. I think, obviously, we all know been watching the games and them all season long. They are a very scrappy team. So betting-wise, I think I'm going to go Lions +7. But as for straight up picking, I'm going Niners. Unfortunately, it's been a hell of a storybook season for the Detroit Lions and their fans. They just can't stop the run. And when you're going up against the best running back in the world, it's not gonna end well. I'm sorry. And if the weather is better, I didn't really look at the weather because it's a couple of days out.
Should be fine.
If it's fine, I'm gonna trust a little bit more. I'm gonna trust Purdy a little bit. And that was bizarre with the wetness of the rain. It was just like you can tell some guys have it in the rain and others don't. So, unfortunately with Purdy. So, with Josh Purdy, not Josh Purdy. With Brock Purdy, it's just, yeah, he needs to step up and see what happens on Sunday because he owes the Niners one. But with CMC as your star running back, I think he's going to have a lights out game, and maybe their defense, like you guys mentioned, they didn't show up last week. Does Bosa and the rest of the crew show up? So the Lions are going to give that fight like we all know they've done this whole entire season. They might cover, but the Niners are going to roll into Las Vegas for the Super Bowl. So those are our picks. I know we weren't really different this week, but the way we've been seeing it the whole entire. Oh no, Josh did pick the Lions. So yeah, we had some differences this week. So as always with that, don't take our words. If you're gonna gamble responsibly.
Don't take my word for it.
Don't take my word on it. For examples, but might as well, since we don't have DM of the week, we kind of have a DM. Josh, before the show, you mentioned that we had Deb a little sassy towards you on New Year's Day.
Yeah, I mean,
I have no idea what I said.
Very, very not like Deb.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, me and Deb communicate every now and then. I mean, first and foremost, I know what a hard worker Deb is. She's has
100%.
her hands in a million different things, and she does a hell of a great job. So, but you know, she still takes the time to reach out. I take the time to reach out, and I got free club seats to the Commanders 49ers game on New Year's Eve. And I sent her a picture. I thought she might like it. I'm like, well, both our teams lost today. And she's like, I don't even want to talk about it. And
that was the worst game to text Deb. Funny.
And I was like, at least the Eagles are better.
Yeah, that was now I remember that game. Yeah, that was the game.
What day was it? Wait.
That was the
when
game
the Eagles lost to Arizona.
Oh, yeah,
and then Deb was like, dude, we lost to Arizona.
Yeah, no.
That was a horrible game. I, first of all, was a little hungover. Second of all, because it was like I was in Nashville. And second of all,
I love Nashville. I love Nashville.
Nashville is so much fun. You should.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture. It looked like you had an incredible time down there.
I had a blast. But no, I was so a little tiny bit hungover from the night before, and then also, I actually did a podcast, and you could hear in my voice how raspy I was. But no, that was the game where I almost threw my phone because I don't get that mad. Yeah. And I literally went like this with the phone because I was so upset. And I was like, Deb, what are you doing? You need that phone. Like, you need that phone to do a podcast, first of all. Like, I was so mad.
Well, my side of that story is funny because I was watching the Giant game. The Giants and Eagle game was on the same time. And I don't have the luxury of having two TVs like everybody else. So I just got a text from Deb. Fuck! I'm like, oh no! Like all like caps with extra K's. I go, oh boy, this ain't good. After me and Deb just like, I'm like, come on, it's just the Cardinals. They're fine. And Deb's like, I don't care. They're just playing terrible. This is terrible. And all I get was,
oh bad.
Fuck.
And I don't curse like that either. I especially don't curse on air. But yeah,
no. So like just the text message from Deb, and it's just like hilarious. And we're like, all right, well, the Giants just had a tough loss, but we weren't going to make the playoffs anyway. Oh, this makes my day.
Dan, let me ask you, was she that mad when the Giants beat the Eagles in the last week of the season?
Not really, because she was what did you do? You were like, all right, we're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, we were going to the playoffs, and it was a bad game. I turned that one off too.
Yeah, that's right. She turned it off.
And I had just finished. I was with my bosses, and I was
right,
with some of my
right.
old coworkers.
She was at work, so I didn't bother her. And honestly, I felt weird talking trash to her, being 5-11. So I kept it cool. But she was more worried about AJ Brown being hurt. Obviously, he didn't play in the playoff game, so
it really was.
I think if the Giants had a better season, that was the one thing where we finally beat the Eagles, but our season was over, kind of thing. So I left it alone.
Yeah.
But
we had a lot of injuries in that game too,
right.
So I was fine.
It was a funny DM that I thought was perfect for this segment. And then to wrap up the new year, I was actually featured on her story of all the shows Deb was a part of.
Yes. We definitely put you on there. Thank you for having me on your show, by the way.
We're doing it again.
One of the highlights of 2023. So yeah.
Put us on your calendar for 24.
There we go. I will. Absolutely. No, and it's funny when you look back at those highlights, you don't even realize how much stuff you did. You know what I mean? Like in that year, I was like, oh, I did a lot. Like I did a lot of stuff. So yeah. Like thank you for being a part of that.
So before I wrap up with plugs and everything else, Josh, where can we find you? What's your podcast? Where's your YouTube channel? What's your socials? Hit us with everything you would want to let us know about.
You just got to check out the Kirby on Sports podcast. You can find pretty much everything at kirbyonsports.com. You can go back through YouTube or the audio realms and you get my interview with Deb, the lovely Deb. So if you want to go back and watch that, please feel free. But has links to all the YouTubes and everything. We're on all streaming platforms, all listening platforms, YouTube with the video component as well. Just doing what we love. Me and my two co-hosts, Dan and Carlos, talking football each and every week. And then during the off season, trying to hopefully get some more guests on and talk about, just get a little bit more creative and talk about different avenues of sports, which I'm hoping we can do a little bit more of, but just, I don't know. Our bread and butter for the most part is football season. So when it comes to football season, we are hitting the ground running, talk about NFL football, but we have more flexibility and creativity in the off season to do other stuff as well. Plus our one and only big live show, the the draft party, go out to a local pizza joint and live record there. And we have such a fun time doing it. It's going to be our fourth time around doing it. So that's going to be live on everywhere you get live streams and whatnot. And, just trying to find more creative and unique ways to get out there and create pretty good and unique content for people who like sports out there.
Okay, awesome. Deb, do you have any final words before I plug away?
No, I'm good to go. I'm excited for this weekend.
Okay, that's it. All right, guys. So be sure to check out our new YouTube Blonde Blitz channel on YouTube. Of course, Spotify. I'm going to be working on trying to get us on Pandora and Apple Podcasts, and of course TSS Fantasy Football. And before I forget, if you download the UnderDog Fantasy app with your first deposit up to $100, type in the promo code Blonde for an extra $100, up to extra $100 in playing. I actually played this week and I had a lot of fun, and I won a couple. I did like 3 or 4 of them, but I won 2 of them, and one of them was the big one.
What did you do? I was going to ask you how it went, how you did. You won, right?
Yeah, I won. So I did a Saturday and then I did a Sunday. The Saturday, I only did one Saturday just to see, this is a cool content-wise thing. I won that. I won like $85, so that was cool. Nice. And then Saturday, I'm like, I won $85. Might as well just have fun with it. And then I did like 4 or 5 of them, and then I won one of them. I won like $100 this week. So hey,
more than you had before.
Yeah, more I had before. And honestly, if you like fantasy, it's fun. And if you're able to gamble in your state, it's a nice thing to like not have to bet on a straight up game or anything else. If you're more of a prop guy like myself, UnderDog Fantasy is the way to go. So promo code Blonde, let us know if you do play UnderDog Fantasy. Maybe I will shout you out on one of my tweets or Blonde Blitz's social media. Until next time, Nikki will be back next week. So you'll have the regular Blonde Bombshells back and better than ever.
And
hopefully I did good in her place.
Yeah, we handled it together like pros. So Josh, thank you for coming on.
Just so you know, too, Nikki and I, and obviously Dan, have a huge announcement coming next week. So you need to tune in for that. We've got some Super Bowl news for you.
Yeah, big time Super Bowl.
We'll make that announcement. So,
absolutely.
But Josh, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
As always, thanks again for watching and listening. Have a good one, guys.
Bye, guys.